Hello, dear friends. My name is Brett Culp. Welcome to episode 7 of Being an Everyday Hero. It's all important. You may be feeling today like you are overwhelmed by all the dumb, boring, annoying stuff you have to do that you do not want to do, and you have a vision and a dream in mind of what you want to accomplish and what you want to do, and you feel like all this mundane stuff is just in the way and keeping you from being able to do that. Today, I want to share a perspective with you about all the mundane stuff and why it's important and how it is actually pushing you, how it's an opportunity for you to get even closer and to realize the dreams that you have that are right in the midst of the stuff you're doing right now that you're really not enjoying that much. So stick with me for a few minutes. I want to share those ideas and hopefully inspire you along the way. So happy to have you here on the podcast today. Being an everyday hero is about seeing everything you do, each opportunity that you have in front of you as a way to help other people, to make a difference, to make a bigger impact in the world. So if you see your life and everything you do as a way to make the world a better place, to shine more light in the darkness, then I think you're going to find insights and perspectives that are helpful for you in the process. So thanks for being here, and thanks for being an everyday hero. If you've not done it, you should check out my website, brettculp.com. That's BRETTCULP. It's Brett with 2 T's, brettculp.com. There is a lot of stuff on there that you may enjoy. I have a blog on there where I've written for posts for many, many years of content that might inspire you, particularly if you're enjoying this podcast. And there's also a lot of films that I've created. You can learn more about the upcoming films we're working on and some things that are around the corner, and also see things we've already created. And you can sign up for our email list. About every 2 weeks or so, I send out an email with some of the cooler stuff that I've created over that time, a lot of different films and projects and things that I'm working on, and so you will probably enjoy that. That's the stuff you can't get by listening to me talk here on the podcast. So anyway, you can check that all out at my website, brettculp.com. So today, it's all important. When I was a kid, I'm a child of the 1980s. When I was a kid, one of the most popular movies, the iconic movies of being a kid in the 1980s was The Karate Kid. I don't know how many dojos in America exploded and built their entire business because of the popularity of that movie, but I have to believe that you'd have to talk to some owners of these karate dojos who would tell you that movie sparked a lot of business for them, because I can remember me and my friends watching that movie and just loving it and thinking it was the coolest story. And the girl that was in that movie, Elizabeth Shue, that's the main female character, female lead in that movie, I remember leaving the theater and just having such a crush on her. I mean, I was pretty sure I was in love with Elizabeth Shue after seeing that movie, because she was so beautiful and she just had this amazing, sparkling personality. She was just so adorable. So I remember that movie so clearly, and I have not watched it in a long time, but I was thinking recently about the scene that happens after Daniel, the main character, asks Mr. Miyagi, who's going to become his trainer, tells him that he wants to learn karate. And the first, week, 10 days, 2 weeks of the training, he gives him these assignments to do that frustrate Daniel to no end. He wants him to wax the car and paint the fence and scrub the floor. And there's a very specific way that Mr. Miyagi wants him to do each one of these tasks. He can't just paint the fence any old way. He has to paint it in this very specific way. And when he waxes the car, he has to wax it in a very specific way. And the same with the floor and these other tasks that Mr. Miyagi, his mentor, his teacher, makes him do. He has to not just do them, but there's a very specific, focused way he's supposed to do them. And this is so frustrating to Daniel, because he thinks, hey, I'm here to learn karate. I am not here to wax your car and paint your fence and do these chores that you want me to do. I'm here to learn karate. And it's just like payment or something. What are we doing here? But he agrees to do these things. He agrees to follow his teacher's instructions and do the things he's being asked to do. And at the end of that, when he reaches a point where he's so frustrated that he has to just say, forget it, I'm leaving. And then Mr. Miyagi calls him back. And what he essentially shows him is that those mundane, frustrating, monotonous things that he has been doing for the past week or however long, those things were actually preparing him. They were the bedrock training he needed to be able to do the bigger moves, to learn the real karate, and the skills that he would need to do these more complex karate moves. So it was essentially training for him. You know, when I was a kid, I just thought that was a clever little plot device. But now that I'm older, I can look back on that and see how that is the way life works. We all have big dreams we're pursuing. We have things, you have things in your life that are the things you're after, that you want to pursue, and you need to pursue those things with all your heart. Whatever kind of impact you're trying to make in the world, to make the world a better place with your abilities and your skills and your passions, you've got to pursue that and go after it. But in the process of that, you may not have arrived yet. You may not be there yet. And you may still be in the place where you're pursuing that dream, but you're still doing a bunch of stuff that you don't want to be doing. You know, a job you really don't want to be in, or you are dealing with people and circumstances that are really not where you want to be. I think the shift in perception is starting to see those things not as hindrances, not as the things that are keeping you from your goal, but as opportunities for preparation. They are training. And how they become training in life is when you choose to bring the spirit of your bigger dream into the present moment. When you decide, you know what, I'm not exactly doing that thing that I want to do, but I'm going to bring that spirit, that passion that I know that it takes to do that bigger dream into this moment. And what I always find for myself that happens, and I've seen it also in the stories of people whose lives I've captured in my films, is that when they bring that essence, that idea, that energy into the mundane stuff, the stuff that's not as exciting, it starts to create more opportunities for them to actually see the world expansively and find more opportunities to do the things they're dreaming of. And in the process, they're growing because they're getting better and better at channeling the energy and the spirit of what it is they want to do. They are bringing it with them. It's becoming automatic. They're getting better and better at it. Just like Daniel learned to paint the fence, he was using the painting of the fence as a way to prepare for blocking attacks. That's the way I've started to shift my mentality. That flat tire you have, that crying child, that job that you have right now that you really don't want, that frustration you're dealing with as you're trying to get this project done, that annoying person that just will not leave you alone, you could see that as something that is holding you back from the dream, or you can see that as the work that you need to do to get ready for the dream, that it is practice, it is preparation. In one of my favorite movies, and if you know me at all, you know I'm a superhero fan, and one of my favorite superhero movies is Batman Begins, the first Batman movie directed by Christopher Nolan. And at the very beginning of that movie, there's this scene where Bruce Wayne, who will ultimately become Batman, is traveling the world, gaining experiences and training so that he can go back and do something in his city. And he finds himself like in this prison filled with just these rough criminals in some other part of the world that is, feels like very uncivilized when you see it in the movie. And, he is trapped in here with these very rough, rugged men. And this one huge guy is kind of picking on him, and he walks up to him and he says, this big man says to Bruce Wayne, "You are in hell and I am the devil." I mean, it doesn't get any more intimidating than that. I can imagine being in that circumstance and having some big giant guy come over to me in prison where I can't escape and saying, "You are in hell and I am the devil." But Bruce Wayne's response in that movie is, "You are not the devil. You are practice. You are practice." And I've always loved that. I think that's such a great, interesting way of seeing the world. And then they essentially get into this fight, and the fight is this moment where Bruce, is essentially testing out his skill of how he's attacking criminals and what's working and what's not working. And so that idea that even being trapped in one of possibly the worst spaces you could ever be in, with some of the most dangerous, life-threatening situations, to that extreme that he would say, "No, I'm not in hell. I'm practicing here. This is practice for me." And I think that is the attitude that we can bring to those circumstances in our life that are not so ideal, where you can say, that when that baby is crying in the middle of the night and you've had no sleep, you say to yourself, your instinct is to say, "I can't deal with this. This is distracting me from the more important things." But the truth is, for you, is that it's practice. That it's an opportunity for you to practice patience and stillness and calmness, self-control, endurance, commitment, all of those things that are important to the dreams that you are pursuing, that are important. You're making an investment. That word has helped me so much when I'm doing things I don't like. And instead of thinking about all the difficulty of it, I instead use the word investment. I am investing in this person, in this project, in myself, knowing that that investment is going to pay off one day, and it's going to be better, not just for me, but in the process, I'm making the world better, and I'm moving towards a wonderful dream. And that's true in every aspect of our life. You may be starting up a not-for-profit, or some other entrepreneurial venture that's really important to you. And right now you're at that stage where you are just going through all the frustrating hoops and the forms you don't want to fill out and the people you don't want to deal with and the rejection that's hurtful. And the truth of that thing you're starting or building up or whatever it is you're doing is that it is practice. It is preparation, not just in terms of your behavior and your skills, but also your mental, emotional, and spiritual state. Because as you learn how to respond to those mundane, difficult things, you are learning how to respond to the bigger, more important things. Sometimes the things that are not in your world yet are the things you're not quite ready for. That if you were given the big opportunity, the big stage, the big client, the big grant, you would find that you're actually not ready for that yet, that you have not mastered the mundane things, the simple things, the basic things yet. And I don't mean, again, just mastering the ability, the skill to go through it, but the personal, within yourself. You have not mastered all the elements within yourself that it takes for you to not destroy that thing if you had it in your world. The ability to be patient, to not rush, to treat other people well and not be selfish, to give and be generous. And so all of these frustrations you're going through right now, if you cannot learn to handle those things well, then you couldn't probably handle the big things well either. And so it's a matter of developing a mental discipline of, I love this phrase so much, and my mom shared it with me a long time ago. It's bloom where you're planted, which is this nature idea, which is a flower. It doesn't choose where it grows. It just is there, and it grows and it blooms and it shines and it's beautiful. Sometimes no one ever even sees it, but it still is what it is. And that's the idea for you, is to bloom where you're planted, wherever you find yourself today. Bring the spirit of your dream, the spirit that you want to bring into the world, into that space, and be a beautiful flower, be a beautiful image, a beautiful picture of that thing. Even if it's not necessarily on the biggest stage or in the place or space or with the people that you want it to be. Just go ahead and shine and be beautiful right where you are, knowing that it's preparation for where you're headed. If you follow me on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so much of the things that I post, so many of the stories that I share there are these everyday stories of things that I experience and that happen to me, and the everyday heroes that I come across in the process. And what I find, a lot of what I share in trying to dig deeper into something more profound in those experiences is it's not just about what happens. It's the perspective with which you see those things from. It's how you learn to see your daily life, how you're looking at it every day. Are you seeing the things that happen to you as opportunities, or are you seeing them as just obstacles and frustrations? And that's a shift in perspective. And for me, when I do that, when I'm able to shift, I see stories everywhere. I have a philosophy as a filmmaker that there is not a person on the planet that I could not, if I spent a day with them, I could not find a way to make an interesting and intriguing short film about them. That every single person within them has some unique experience, story, way of doing things, way of seeing the world that is inspiring and beautiful when you shine the light on it in the right way, when you find a way of sharing it that exposes and uncovers its beauty and its splendor. And I think that way about life and about where we are, and all of us have that. Sometimes we lose track of it within ourselves. We find it hard to see, but it's always there. It's always within us. And it's a matter of sometimes stopping and looking at your life and saying, where does this path I'm on today, and how can I use the place that I find myself to cultivate my dreams, to grow, and to share more of the light that is within me? You know, I love this idea that nothing is boring. If you're saying, my life is so boring, or I'm in the midst of something that's so boring, I've had people say to me before, nothing is boring. It's really just a matter of finding a way to share and express your gifts within the space that you find yourself. To be able to see within this present moment right now where you are, that there is beauty and potential here for you to bring something beautiful to it. Not necessarily for the moment, for the things around you, the circumstances, to bring you something amazing. Sometimes the circumstances won't bring you something amazing, but there is always the opportunity for you to pour something amazing into this present moment, wherever you find yourself right now. And so nothing is small. Nothing is mundane. Nothing is little. Nothing is unimportant. Whether you have a job where you're doing something that people in the general world would think, well, that's not very important. That's a low-level job. It doesn't accomplish anything special in the bigger world. There is nothing small. Everything has the opportunity, when we will let it, to have light, and to have light brought into it. And that's a choice. That is a choice that each one of us have every day, to shift our perspective and to start to see how we can bring more light, more hope, more kindness, more compassion wherever we find ourselves. And the beautiful thing that always happens for me, and that happens for so many other people that I talk to and engage with in my work, is that it is those moments when you are willing to share yourself that way where the magic happens in your own life. When you sit there waiting and saying, well, I'm not going to give the best of myself until the circumstance arrives where I want to give the best of myself, where I'm excited, where I'm invigorated. What you find is that circumstance never arrives. It never shows up. But when you choose every day, even in the stuff that you don't like, to bring that light, to bring that joy, to bring that energy, to share your passion and your dream wherever you find yourself, then the circumstance shows up. Then something external happens that leads you into the places you're trying to go, into the good that you want to do, the doors open, the helpers appear, the guides and teachers that you need, they show up to help you unlock the doors. They have the keys, and they see you, and the circumstance changes. And so if you are waiting to act and express yourself for the circumstance to change, stop. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Start being yourself and living your dream and expressing your heart and your passion right now, in this present moment. Bring it here, today, right now, and let people see it and let them connect with you, and the opportunities to help and to share and to grow and to give will over time appear. And it may take time. It may require patience and long-term commitment, but it is the process. It is being committed to the process and committed to sharing yourself and being authentically you throughout that journey that is so important. Thank you for spending some time with me. This is such a joy to share this with you, and I hope that it blesses you and helps you in your journey today. If this episode or this podcast has helped you, I hope you'll share it with someone that you think it would be a help to as well. And wherever you found it, I'd be honored if you would like it, review it, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Sending you love and big hugs. Have a heroic day.